For many, the Canada goose is a symbol of Canada's vast wilderness and beauty. The extreme rarity of the bird only 50 years ago intensifies this perception. Canada geese were decidedly precious and worth preserving. Every last one.
But you guys aren't vegetarians, are you? No?
Canada geese are a magnificent success story. They're incredible animals. They're incredible. They're smart. They're loyal to each other.
When we saw Canada geese, they were generally flying over at several thousand feet, and they were migrating to the Arctic. So we held them in very high regard, which was great. Everybody held Canada geese in high regard.
As much as I can, I love to enjoy them, to see them, and help create a sustainable environment. My goal was to get them off our property and off our fields so that we could carry on just like a regular program.
A lot of urban parks in Ontario now, and actually throughout large portions of North America, have overabundant Canada geese, lots of Canada geese, such that they're having an impact on the grass, they're having an impact on the water, and unfortunately in certain instances birds are taking over.
Camp Crossroads, situated on Black Lake, Muskoka, has been hosting campers for over 20 years, and only recently have Canada geese taken up residence there.
Our camp has a fairly strong environmental ethos. Keep the kids safe and also keep the wildlife safe from harm. It was becoming a problem in our fields. First of all, they became so slick that we couldn't carry on a normal game of soccer. Even when the grass was dry, just the geese scat they were so thick that you would slip and slide.
Certain individuals are really upset with the number of Canada geese we have. Some people are neutral, and some animal protectionist folks think that we don't have enough.
But we never hear, oh, well, we have too many robins. Okay, we have too many of this, we have too many of that. We don't hear that because there's a bias. There's a bias against the geese as being bad, dirty birds. That's what we're faced with. The icon of Canada's wilderness, the V-shapes flying south, are bad, dirty birds because they poop in the shore and they pollute our waters.
The whole process started when I phoned the local Ministry of Natural Resources here in Bracebridge. They sent me an email with a list of deterrents. And so I systematically went through each suggestion.
Animal Alliance campaigns non-lethal means such as habitat modification to make the environment uncomfortable for the goose.
Move the geese to where they can be and be okay and not get in trouble with anybody.
We couldn't plant shrubs, we couldn't grow wild grass all along our beach just because it was impossible for us to run our program. Like I said, we couldn't hire anyone to have their full-time job as scaring geese away.
Andrew searches for an economic way to operate the campgrounds, but he'll have to face a potential hazard to the popular swimming program along the way.
Swimming in the heart of the summer is one of the most popular things that kids want to do at our camp, and if it's not safe, we just can't swim. We had so many geese close to our shoreline that we did notice that as we would do our tests for water, the E. coli count, the bacteria count, did rise in spring. And so that was the first indication to me that the geese were creating a serious problem. Like our beach was literally covered with piles of goose crap. And so there had to be a more efficient and more impactful way of getting these geese off our property.
We as hunters are a wildlife management tool, and a lot of the seasons and regulations for hunting are set up such that we're managing populations of overabundant wildlife, whether that be turkeys, white-tailed deer, or Canada geese.
Okay, get down, get down.
our mandate in terms of geese is to make sure that they are not rounded up and killed, as happens in many American cities, not so much here.
My job is different every day, but basically I'm responsible for managing 12,000 acres of park. We have 9 parks that are regional parks that circle Pittsburgh. We were so far out of balance for so many years that we never could get it back in balance without taking some drastic means. I know we've had counts in one of our parks is up to 1,000 geese in North Park.
So I let the ministry know that the deterrents that they had given me, they didn't work. You know, they'd work for an hour or two, then the geese were back. And so the ministry issued me like a destruction permit, and what that allowed me to do was to shoot 3 geese per week.
I'm concerned with the whole web of life in the ecosystem. And if we focus too much on one species, which is out of balance and artificially manipulated by man out of balance, it's our fault, and we have a duty to do that.
He thinks that the geese are impacting negatively. How does he know? The best thing to do is to leave nature alone.
Grabbed my permit and took my gun and proceeded to actually walk down to the beach. And the geese were quite tame. Even though they knew that we were there to scare them away, they were quite tame, and so I basically just walked up to the flock, aimed to shoot 2, and sure enough, you know, 1 shot, 2 geese. It was very effective.
We shot it, we clean it, we freeze it, we cook it, so we know exactly where it came from, exactly what happened to it. It's certainly a viable use of the resource.
I definitely think it's coming to a point where we're gonna have to take more dramatic measures to control the population.
We walked him into a circle. We walked him into where that U was, and at the last minute, put another section behind him and closed him in. And then they stood there very calmly. And then we calmly reached in and grabbed one at a time and put him in like a poultry cage. Well, they were put in a chamber, and they were gassed. And I think it was just a removing of oxygen. I think it was carbon dioxide, but they weren't poisoned. Just they were in the absence of oxygen.
Cooking it this way, it's absolutely delicious. You could feed this to anybody.
I consider this to be a war against a natural species.
If we want to reduce the population, we need to get out and increase adult mortality, i.e. kill birds one way or another.
I don't have as much of a emotional struggle, if you'd call it, with destroying geese as I used to, because now I know that there's too many, and there's too many in a lot of places.
Canada is leagues away from having a united and proud outlook on her namesake bird. It is a war for supremacy and survival. Us or them.
Well, you know what? Your ear's kind of tuned to like the threat.